platforms to start a variety of side hustles and how one man got his resume to stand out. You'll love this story. We'll take your calls and your chats, and it all starts right now. I am coming to you live from our Ramsey Solutions studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do that, where you can do it, and then how to get there. It is about your purpose. We're going to look at your purpose in your work because I believe that your purpose in work is tied to your purpose in life. That's right. That you were created to work. In other words, you were created to contribute. You were given 3 gifts: talent, what you do best; passion, work you love to do; and mission, results that you long to create, that give you the juice, fire you up when you create those results. And if you use your talent to perform your passion, to produce your mission, guess what? You're fired up on Monday mornings. You are experiencing deep significance at work. And you'll get to the end of your journey and look back with a spirit of reminiscing, not a spirit of regretting. Woo! Who doesn't want that? And that's what unifies every person on the planet, is a desire to make a difference. And we're going to help you figure out what that difference is, how to get there. And then we're going to cheer you on. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll get to your chat questions a little bit later in the program. You can fire those away right now next to the video window. And hey, while you're watching, if you're enjoying the program and you're back for another visit, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Our numbers are growing and in a very good way. And that means that YouTube is going to put us out in front of anybody who might be searching for some of the issues, some of the answers we discuss on the show. So that'll help us grow. But first, it's easier than ever. That's right. No matter where your state is, no matter where your country is around the globe as it relates to the pandemic, there has never been an easier time to start a business. 22 of the best platforms for scaling your startup or side hustle, and we got them categorized. This is a great article from Business Insider. Here we go. Take notes. This should encourage you, those of you who are thinking, scheming about starting your own business, which eventually may be your full-time endeavor. Let's talk about retail. If you want to get into retail, Shopify, Instagram, Alibaba, Amazon, Equid. I've never even seen this before, Joe. ECWID, and never even heard of it.
Never.
Yeah, there you go. I know you haven't heard of it. 4 platforms for resellers: eBay, Poshmark, Depop, Facebook Marketplace. Now, I got to tell you, I sold an older car about 2 years ago on Facebook Marketplace. I can attest, very easy to sell things on Facebook Marketplace. How about 4 platforms for makers? So you're making your own products. Etsy, Faire, that's F-A-I-R-E, Wix, Big Cartel, and then how about 7 platforms for content creators? So you want to make a living generating content, which is what I do. YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, Substack, Podia, for service providers. So you're providing a service like grocery delivery, and that would be Dumpling. And then Mind Body. So I just rolled through those really quickly. If you're watching here on the YouTube show, you can pause and rewind and go through that list. But this is really helpful information. And here's the deal. Those are the top platforms. They're by no means the only platforms. And there's going to be new platforms popping up all the time that make it easy for you, the individual, to make a living. Now, it starts with making some earnings, and then we can make a living. You make an earning, you make some earnings. You retain, save those earnings, expand, scale the earnings, and now you can make a living. It's right there in front of you. There's nobody stopping you. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. Let's go to Ben in Buena Vista, Virginia. Ben, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. How can I help?
So I'm 25, and I have been searching for what I might think my dream job is. And I know that organization is something that I'm good at and I find satisfaction in, but I really have no idea where to start to find which careers fit my sweet spot.
Okay. Before we dive into this, because I want to walk you through your 3 gifts and see if we can see an arrow pointing to the marketplace. But have you ever wondered about a career? I just want to know what may be bouncing around in your heart that you're not sure if that's even something you can do.
Well, for a while, I thought I was going to pursue accounting, and I wanted to become a CPA, but I failed my college accounting course a few different times.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if college is something I can handle. I have a few mental disabilities, and so...
Okay. Let me ask you this. Are you proficient in the accounting skills, but put you in a classroom environment and testing, that's where it went off the rails? Is that what happened, or is that not the case?
That's pretty accurate, yeah.
So if you did some basic accounting certification and had to go through that testing, would that also be a challenge?
I'm still figuring that out. I'm sort of figuring out what my abilities are. And so I know that you say I would be differently abled. I'm just not sure how exactly yet. And
okay, so you're not. So what are your mental disabilities as you define those? What do you know?
Well, I have pretty severe ADHD that I wasn't diagnosed with until a few years ago, and so sort of figuring out how to handle that.
Are you on medication?
Yeah.
How's that help?
It helps a bit. I'm still just trying to figure out how to be persistent in what I do, and so meaning how I work and things like that.
Having challenges with follow through and long-term consistency.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I'm going to come back to that in a second because I've got opinions on that. I have ADHD as well. I'm high functioning, and so I don't take medication. But I've got some opinions on that with some experience and people in my family that deal with it. And so I'm going to come back to that. So let's go. So let's go to talent. The 3 gifts: talent, what you do best; passion, work you love to do; mission, results that really matter to you. What did you start off with? You said there was one. Was it organization? Is that what you said?
Yeah. In analyzing my whole life, I've noticed that organization is just something that I have been naturally good at and something that I find satisfaction in. Yeah,
give me an example of something, whether it be on the job or in your personal life, where it was for lack of a better word, an organizational project that had, it had several layers to it, and it took some time. Can you describe one of those moments for me?
Yeah, I'm pretty diligent with to-do lists and organizing my calendar. It to the point of excess that it kind of bothers my wife a little bit.
Okay, now stop. This is fast forwarding us beautifully to where I wanted to end up.
Okay.
I'm really excited right now. Do you find in those situations where you've got a to-do list, a plan of execution, do you find that you lose perspective and lose attention and can't finish?
No.
Interesting.
That's the sort of thing, that I definitely hyper-focus on. Those sort of things.
So have you done enough research, or have you just learned from anecdotal moments in your life now that you're on medication, and even prior to medication? The medication hasn't helped you hyper-focus at all. You always had that hyper-focus when you were doing something that you want to finish the sentence, or do you want me to do it?
I think you should.
Okay. You have hyper-focus when you are doing something that you're good at and something that you enjoy. True or false?
Mm-hmm. That's definitely true.
So talent, I define talent as what? What you do best. I define passion as what? Work you love to do. So you give Ben a project where Ben's got to organize an entire garage. It's a total mess. And you got to do it in 8 hours. Are you going to let off the gas pedal at all in that time?
No, not at all. I would focus maybe a bit too much, and I wouldn't stop until it's done.
Right. So the reason, back to college and some of the struggles you've had with classes, traditional education, is because it is not putting you in a position where you are hyper-focused. That's what I love about my ADHD. Same thing with me. Dude, I struggle to do basic tasks around the house and hit deadlines. My brother, I hit the clock every time on my show. I hit the clock going into radio breaks. I hit the clock on my talks. I have hyper-focus when I'm performing, when I'm coaching, when I'm counseling. Same thing with you, brother. So the issue is not how do I figure out what's going on with my ADHD. Well, you know, the medicine will help you with some of those basic tasks and areas. But the fact of the matter is if you want a successful career, you need to be doing organizational type work where every day you show up, you got a messy garage to clean up. That's the metaphor. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's like, get out of the way. Ben's a machine. Ben's getting it done. Ben's a rock star. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, Ben. Now, I'm not even going to go any further because my guess is you have other talents besides organization, but my guess is you're really good with details. Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My guess is you're fairly analytical. Is that right?
Oh, for sure.
Big time. And you're also a good problem solver, right?
Yep.
Let me ask you a question. What are the type of problems? I'm going to give you 4 categories just as general buckets to help you answer this question. So it's multiple choice, A, B, C, and D. What are the problems that you are best at solving? Is it A, people problems, B, idea problems, C, system problems or process problems, or D, things like mechanical things, fixing things type problems? What's the answer?
Probably C.
Process problems.
Yeah.
Systems.
But finding ways for things to be more efficient.
All right. So I know the answer, but I want you to confidently step into this. Knowing what we've just discussed, what type of work do you need to be doing? Forget job title right now. What type of work do you need to be doing where you know you're good at it and you know you love it and it's going to produce results that fire you up? What's the kind of work? Say it. Don't even worry about job title. Just, I'm doing this kind of work all day, Ken.
I think finding the most efficient way to do something, finding the most organized way to do something.
Yep. You need to be involved.
Find that way.
You need to be involved in processes.
Okay.
Systems and processes. You're a back-end guy, right? Your operations, logistics, efficiency, order. Am I scratching the itch?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Ben, if you're doing that all day, every day, coming in, analyzing system problems, process problems, and then after you analyze, you're coming up with a solution, and then you're executing on it. Is that an energetic day for you, or is that a draining day?
That's definitely an energetic day.
Is that a successful day or a miserable day?
That would be successful.
All right, Ben, I think our work is done here, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, it is. Ben, so you know what your next step is? Look in the marketplace, man, where you live, and go, who's hiring operations, systems, organizational positions? Because that's what you thrive at. And you may not need a college degree at all. In fact, I would suggest you don't. So that's the kind of work you need to be doing. And that lines up with your sweet spot, Ben, because what you do best is organization and analyzing and execution. You're a finisher. The work you love to do is finishing and completion, and you're driven. Your motivator is efficiency and order. That's the mix of talent, passion, and mission. And you will use what you do best to do what you love to produce results that matter to you. And that's an arrow pointing right to the marketplace. Go, Ben, go. Folks, that right there is Exhibit A of what I teach. That's the process that you've got to go through, whether you use my Career Clarity Guide or you call in the show. You do this yourself. Call me up. We'll walk through your answers. But that's how the system works. That's how the 3 talents come together. Right there. The 3 gifts, not talents. Talent, passion, mission. That's how they work together. And you will see, as you just listened and watched that process, that Ben could do multiple jobs, several career paths that still keep him in his sweet spot and allow him to be the best version of who he was created to be. Whoo, if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. Let's go to San Diego, California next. Kaylee joins us there. Kaylee, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Kaylee, I'm living the dream. What's going on with you?
Well, I'm in a bit of a bind.
Okay.
I have, for the past 3 years, been working as an event planner at a luxury hotel in San Diego, which has been wonderful. I love the people. I love the hotel. One downside is historically it just hasn't paid very well, especially when you live in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the opportunity during COVID, after I was let off, to decide to go into real estate, and I've just started classes and kind of had the opportunity to pursue something that would compensate me more. Now I know, of course, it's going to take years to build clientele and things like that, but I'm up for the challenge. So I kind of gotten that in my head that this is a new path. I'm really excited about it. But then I was also offered the opportunity to go back to the hotel part-time, very part-time, for significantly less pay, which I, was excited about. I've just been wanting to work. Figured just good to keep a foot in the door. A couple months later, I find myself, I'm there almost full time now. I have a lot more responsibility, and I'm still getting paid half of what I was before.
Oh, my goodness.
So I guess I have two questions.
Okay.
Is I love the hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and I love event planning, but
Mm-hmm.
I know that, I currently am single, and it just hasn't paid enough to support myself.
Right.
Which has been something that I have, fought with, because I do love it, but if, you can't pay your bills, then you can't pay your bills.
Right.
Secondly, now that we're, kind of going into this round 2 of COVID, and, the small number of employees at the hotel are starting to have their hours reduced again, is it appropriate for me to say, listen, I'm not doing the job that I was hired to do at this, salary that you're giving me?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's address this. Let's address this one first, this question. And I understand you're using the word appropriate, but I think the question needs to be, what do I need to make, and can I make it somewhere else? Because right now we're trying to make some decisions on your future and the big picture and the mountaintop you want to climb.
Yes, exactly.
But you've got some financial challenges. So, you wanting to leave is great, in the sense that, yes, I don't think you need to be there much longer, just because of all the reasons you just gave. I mean, you've got a lid on you. And so I don't ever want somebody to stay in a place where they've got a lid. However, I would stay there until you replace that, at least that income, or replace what it was before, where you still felt you were not making enough.
Okay.
So first things first, because I can hear the emotion in your voice and it's reasonable and I understand that. You're just exhausted emotionally, probably scared as well. Let's just get you stable financially. And the fact that you're single does take the pressure off a little bit, in that you have less to provide for, obviously, but also if you got to work 2 or 3 jobs for a 2 or 3 or 6 month period, that's okay, because it's not the end of the world. Okay.
Here's actually the thing: is financially I am stable because I've been living with my family,
good.
Saving for a down payment. Which I have.
Okay, great. That's good news. That's information.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
In my mind, I act like I'm not, because I go off of what my paychecks are.
I understand.
But I am financially stable.
Okay,
so
that's great news.
Yeah. So now I'm like, do I just really say, listen, like I tried here, and
it's not the hotel space.
Right.
So yes. Now here's where I want to challenge you, though. I think event planning is something that you're deeply passionate about. I might go so far as to say it sounds like it could be your dream job, but I don't think it's event planning in the traditional hotel space. I think you might be doing the right type of work, but in the wrong place. And I think now, again, COVID and California and event planning, that's not a good sentence.
Right.
So we got some serious asterisks around this conversation. But
Right.
in a normal period of time, which I hope that the entire nation and quite frankly the globe gets to a point where we start to see live events become a normal thing again like they were, I think it's going to explode. Because
It
I think
will, absolutely.
you know it's going to.
Yes.
So
People
what
wanna
can you
celebrate.
so what can you do now to position yourself so that you get back into event planning, if that is in fact the thing, but it's not in the hotel environment where you're capped from a corporate thing, but more what I'm going to call your small business event planning, where maybe you go to work for somebody who essentially pays you and trains you how to run your own event planning business, and maybe that's your jam one day. I don't know.
Right. Well, I actually did. It's funny you say that because my background is weddings. And
good.
So I did weddings for a small business. We did a wedding at the hotel that I currently work at, and I was like, okay, I want to work here. I want to do weddings at this
Yay.
hotel. That's the dream job.
Perfect.
So I got myself to that hotel, worked there for 3 years, loved everything. But the issue with that is there's one wedding planner there. She's been there for 12 years. She's amazing, but she's not going anywhere.
Right. So here's the deal. You're doing the right thing in the wrong place.
Okay.
That's one of the 4 categories that people get when they take my free Should I Quit My Job quiz at kencoleman.com. There's a lot of you need to take that quiz because if you had taken it, Kaylee, it would say that. Essentially what this means is you love the work of event planning, but you're capped. You've got a lid.
Exactly. That's the whole issue. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, but listen,
but
you're not capped. You're
Right.
capped as long as you choose to stay there. But the
Okay.
good news is you're not a deadbeat who's living with their parents. You're doing the smart thing in the midst of a pandemic that has artificially shut down your state's economy and many states' economies and many economies around the world.
Mm-hmm.
But once things open up, that's going to be a very lucrative world for you to where I think you can make good money. And more importantly, you'll see a ladder that you'll go, okay, I may make this amount of money for this amount of time, but if I stay in it and get more experience and eventually maybe own my own event planning company that does weddings and birthdays and retirement parties and anniversaries, and then maybe we dip into small business events and maybe even some larger corporate events. And guess who's in charge? It's Kaylee Events Inc., right? Maybe that's the vision.
And that's something that I thought about too, kind of before I got into the hotel business. But the reason I got into hotels was because, being single and needing to provide for yourself, I thought that was, it was safer. I
get
would
it.
have insurance and
I get it.
everything like that. Whereas when you have your own business, but to kind of piggyback off of that, there are successful small businesses. One I actually reached out to a few weeks ago, and she wants to bring me on as a consultant. So
Hello,
Kaylee.
Kaylee, stop.
My whole issue.
Stop, Kaylee. I'm on Team Kaylee. I am the chairman of Team Kaylee right now.
Okay.
Stop making excuses or coming up with reasons why you wouldn't do that. I would go work for that person because my guess is it's going to pay you at least what you're making now, which is way underpaid, or if not more.
Okay.
And guess what? You're financially stable. You got a lot of money saved up that you don't need to touch. You don't need to buy a house. I'd stay with mom and dad until this thing chills out. There's no shame in your game. And I would go work for this event planner and get out of the hotel and just free yourself.
That was that's my main question.
I know it was. That's why I interrupted you.
I know. I've got the fire and I've got the drive.
I know you do.
But it's like I find myself at that hotel and I just get stuck.
No, you need permission.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what else you need? A push.
Yeah. No, I know.
I'm giving you permission to do it.
Safe. I'm a safe person. So
No, but guess what? Safe has gotten you.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
You're miserable.
I'm not miserable.
Yes, you are.
I'm tired of seeing other people that I'm like, I just am like, I know that
Okay, tomato. I want you to own the fact that every time you get that paycheck, you've got a form of misery. Is that true or false?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, 100. Okay, now Ken's right.
Yes,
you got to, Kayla, you got to own this.
Okay.
You are playing it safe.
My question is, I need to aim bigger. That's what I've been asking myself. So.
What you need to stop doing is making excuses and then telling yourself that it's safe. Your excuses are what's holding you back, not because you're a safe person. And by the way, folks, I've said this before on this program, and Kaylee has given me the opportunity to say it again. The major driving factor behind why so many people in the history of the world have not truly pursued their purpose in their work, not pursued what has been on their heart, is they make excuses because they're scared. And then they tell themselves, I'm being safe. And safe is always considered to be smart. I would challenge that thought. If you stay in a padded room your entire life, you'll be safe from a lot of physical harm until you lose your mind one day and you begin to harm yourself. Oh boy, now Ken just did it. Now he just did it. He got all serious on us. You want to look at a giant reason for suicides among adults? It comes from losing hope that they actually matter and making a difference. And where does that come from? If you spend your whole life going into work and seeing no reason for why you're there, no progress in your paycheck, no progress in your personal growth, start to believe the lie that you don't matter. This is real, folks. Do you know what they did? Do you know what the greatest monster in the history of the world did? Adolf Hitler. You know what he did to the Jews as torture? Some of you think, well, they physically beat them. Yeah, they did that. But you know what the torture was? And I've read these stories. I've read personal accounts of those who survived those evil concentration camps. They would have them get up and spend the entire day moving one pile of rocks to the other side of the camp, and then the next day they would move the pile of rocks to the other side. Torture. Why was that torture? Not because the work was hard. Not because of the weight of the rocks. Not because of the injuries of that physical labor, but because of the meaninglessness of the task. Whew. Torture. Torture. To make a man or a woman do a meaningless task all day long. And they lost their minds. Did things to be killed because they couldn't stand another day of doing meaningless work, of facing another day of a meaningless existence. I'm not saying they were right. They did matter. But I'm telling you that the safe, padded wall type of approach to life can eventually drive you to insanity and emotional barrenness. What we consider safe and smart isn't very safe. And I don't think it's smart. This life is a journey. It is an adventure. There will be times where you will have to take calculated risks, meaning that you do your homework, you go after it, and you might get rejected and your heart might get hurt. But guess what? Your heart will heal. You'll get better at it the next time. You are going to fail in your business idea, but guess what? If you step into it and figure out why you failed and do it better next time, then you'll succeed. Life is not without risk. Life is not without failure. Life is not without hurt. Life is not without rejection. Life is not without uncertainty. But all of those things, when we step into them, we become better. And the journey continues. And when the journey's over, we look back and we see the successes and we see the failures, we see the rejections, we see the hurts, and we say, it was worth it. It was worth it. So can I tell you today, and when you hear that call from Kaylee, don't you look down your nose at her, because many of you are in the same situation. You're in your head, and you're so scared about what might happen. And if you wall yourself off in that padded room, you run the risk of a meaningless existence. And that is the most dangerous, insidious enemy that we all face, is to begin to believe that lie, because it's not true. No matter how bad your situation is, you are not meaningless. That's why I remind you at the end of every show, you matter, you have what it takes. Because I know what you're facing. I've laid there at 2 a.m. at 33 years of age and asked myself, have I blown it? Did I waste all my time going down this path? And is this new path that my heart is beating out of my chest, telling me I need to do, is that delusion? Am I going to be able to take care of my wife and 3 babies? I've laid there, sleepless, miserable, scared, doubt, pride, fear, doubt, and pride have owned me, beat me up. I know what it feels like. And all of those voices are lies. All of them. All right, Joe, here's what we're going to do. For some reason, my laptop it's locked up. So I can't get to the chat room today just because simply I don't know what's going on with my laptop, but we're going to keep rolling here. I got a great story. This is exciting. I think Nathan's got the picture of this. We're going to throw it up here in a second. Don't throw it up yet, but this is really, really cool. Great story. For those of you who feel like you're at the end of your rope and nothing's working, you're going, why would I keep trying to get that job? This story comes from Nottinghamshire, England, which, by the way, I've been looking forward to saying this on the show for a long time, Joe. I have English roots, Scottish roots, and I'm fascinated by the English culture and some of the names. Listen to this guy's name. Because here's the headline. Unemployed man finds new job by posting huge resume on a truck. Listen to this. This is great, Joe. Listen to this guy's name. James Pemblington.
Nice.
James Pemblington of Nottinghamshire, England. I guess it's Nottinghamshire. I guess that's how they'd say it. I don't know. He was out of work when the theme park where he worked for was forced to cut employees due to having shut down for the coronavirus. And kept striving, kept trying, did everything from edible versions of his resume, packages of treats, QR code that would go to his website. I mean, this guy got super creative. He was doing everything right. He didn't quit. He was very creative. But he wasn't catching any momentum. And so he entered a contest to have his resume displayed on the back of an 18-ton truck. Why not? He's done everything else. I love this about James. He didn't quit. So he wins the contest. The article doesn't share how he won it. I'll bet he was really creative. And this is why this guy should be your hero. So he wins the deal, the contest. They put his resume. Can we throw that up on the screen for those watching on YouTube? There it is. There's the truck drivers, and there is his resume. They call it a CV in Europe. And there it is. Nice looking guy. Got a nice looking resume, by the way. And look at what it says right there. It says, "Hi, I'm James, and I'm looking for a job in project management." So here's how the story goes. A guy is sitting in traffic behind the truck, and he looks at this and sees the credentials and goes, "This is impressive." And you know he was like, "This is very creative. I'm looking for somebody like this." And so he reached out and got the interview and won the interview and got the job. And I share that because you know what? I'm not telling you that you got to go plaster your resume all over trucks and everything, but I got to tell you, it certainly doesn't hurt. And I think the moral of this story is that when you're down and when you're discouraged, you got to get determined. You have two options. I'm going to wallow in my misery and allow life to blow me around like a tumbleweed in an old Western town, or I'm going to get determined and say, all right, I've tried this, didn't work. I've tried this, it didn't work. I'm going to try something else. I think there's a Pink song that says you got to get up and try and try and try. And it's a great little song. That could be your theme song for those of you out there. Look that out on YouTube. You can watch the video. But really good stuff. Love that story. All right. My time is almost up. But before I let you go, I want you to know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.